Every new year carries a certain weight to it. There's something about turning the calendar that makes us reflective, looking back on what went well, what didn't, and what we swear we're going to do different this time around. We make promises, we set goals, we tell ourselves, this is the year things finally click. And for a lot of people, those promises center around money. We tell ourselves we'll start saving once life settles down. We'll invest once the market feels safer. We'll deal with the debt later. We'll figure it all out when we make more money, have more margin, or feel more confident. And year after year, those same thoughts quietly follow us into January and February and beyond. But here's the truth. Most financial progress isn't stalled because of a lack of information. It's stalled because of beliefs. Ideas that sound reasonable, feel responsible, and are often repeated so much that they start to feel true. Over time, those beliefs harden into assumptions, and assumptions, left unchallenged, shape the decisions we make without us even realizing it. A new year is the perfect time to ask a better question. Not just what should I do differently, but what do I need to stop believing? Today, we're not going to be talking about budgets, interest rates, or market predictions. We're going to be talking about the financial myths that quietly keep people stuck. Myths that sound harmless, even wise, but slowly work against the very future we say we want. These are the ideas we've heard from culture, family, social media, and sometimes even from our own fear. As we step into a new year, we want to name them, challenge them, and leave them behind. 5 financial myths that we're done carrying into the next chapter. Welcome to Plan to Prosper, where we exist to honor God by helping faithful servants steward their finances wisely and build wealth that endures for generations. All right. Happy New Year, Logan.
Happy New Year. You're starting it off by keeping me on my feet. You updated some of the wording in that cold open, and I felt like I had the ESV translation and you were reading NIV or something on me.
Is that okay?
I guess. I just had to keep up.
I like to
keep me from texting during your cold open.
That's true. Yeah. You've proven to do that before, and I wanted to keep you on your toes. I don't like going by the script. I like freewheeling and improvising.
First myth of this podcast, I've never texted while I've had my phone out.
Okay. Well, whatever. So yeah, what we're doing is you could call this like bad financial advice or things that you see. I feel like I see this kind of stuff on social media all the time. There's like TikTok financial people that give really, really bad financial advice. Stuff that they're trying to throw in the face of conventional wisdom for the sake of content creation, clicks, views, all those things. But at the end of the day, it's not very good advice. And so we're going to look at some of these myths that you might have heard before, and we're going to leave them in the past, and we're going to move beyond them.
You watch TikTok?
I don't, but I feel like that's like the best example that I could give. Like, I guess you could also apply it to Instagram or X or any other social media platform, but TikTok is like the one that all the kids are watching these days. Not me, but
I feel like it creates that. I feel like the word's like there's a word for it, but like crowd thought or whatever, where people are seeing the same thing and then talking about it, and it might not even be backed by anything legitimate. Just like, oh, did you see that? Like, oh, we should all do this.
Yeah, it's like Stockholm syndrome. Is that what it is called? Where you
believe the kidnapper or whatever?
Yeah, you get kidnapped and you eventually like end up on their side.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same thing. You end up in this little bubble where everybody's giving really bad financial advice and everybody buys into it. So we're not making New Year's resolutions today. We're going to leave behind some bad financial advice instead.
Like watching TikTok.
Yeah, true. The thing about this is like these things often don't sound reckless, or there might even be snippets of truth behind some of the things that the reasons they might be giving the financial advice that they're giving. But I think it's important to look at the full picture of it and realize they're missing some key ingredients here and it'll become clear as we get to the actual myths, what we're talking about. But so I think it's important to just not be duped by some internet influencer telling you not to use your 401k or something like that. Like we'll look at all of them, but they sound reasonable until you look at them more carefully.
And the other thing about internet influencers is I feel like they've all figured out how to hit that dopamine.
Right.
And so they're trying to create that content just to make you keep watching.
Exactly. And that's not us. We're not content creators just going for clicks. We're real.
Click that like button though.
Smash that. So whoever you are, whether you're just getting started in finances or you're feeling stuck, this episode could be helpful. If you've been tempted by some of these things that you maybe have heard on the internet, listen to what we have to say today. It could be helpful. You don't need to agree with everything either. You're allowed to disagree with us. And none of what we say is actually personal financial advice to you. So keep that in mind. We're just here talking. If you want personal financial advice, we're happy to give it to you. But we have to talk to you first and get to know you.
Make that your 2026 New Year's resolution.
That's a good one. Talk to Stonecrop.
Yeah.
Because we know what we're doing.
Oh, yeah.
We're most of the time. All right. So we've got 5 myths today. All right. Myth number 1. I'll start investing when I make more money.
Yeah, it's an easy one. But you might not make more money. I feel like we're in this perpetual, there's inflation and it's just an obvious, we're going to keep making, but like people in 2008, people in the Great Depression, people in other time periods didn't always just naturally make more money or keep up with inflation. So I would say that's the first counter to don't just wait until you make more money.
Yeah. Take advantage of every chance you get.
Yeah.
And income is, you might not always make more money, but you always have to steward whatever money you have been given.
Yeah.
So no matter how much money you make, whether it's $500,000 or $50,000, you've been called to be a good steward of that. And so using that as an excuse is not really a great excuse. The widow and her 2 mites is a good example of somebody that didn't have much money, but still was a really, really generous giver.
Yeah.
And the same thing applies to us with giving and saving. We can't use our income as an excuse to not be good stewards.
Yeah, and life's always going to throw you good or bad curveballs. I'm paying way more for child education than I was 5 years ago. So yeah, be a good steward, prioritize, figure out how to not wait.
Yeah. I think this can become tempting when you see maybe your friends make more money than you, or they have a much more significant lifestyle than you have, or you just see people in life like on social media, and you can feel that temptation to be like, well, of course they can do it. Look how much money they clearly make. But I think comparison's the thief of joy. I think that applies to so many things, that comparing yourself to somebody else that's making significantly more money is not really, it's an apples to oranges comparison. You're comparing 2 very different things. You need to compare yourself against yourself and see how you can improve yourself over time, year after year, and make sure that you're making steady improvements with whatever God has you, wherever you are right now, getting better at your habits.
Yeah, and the comparison and keeping up with friends, and I mean, you could even justify it as, well, I'm just trying to have fun, and my friends want to have expensive fun. I do think that, and I'm saying this, trust me, not being the perfect example of this, but it's also a good way to practice the fruit of the spirit of self-control. Yeah,
for sure. We talked about this in a couple episodes ago about savings rates in our episode about how to make $1 million at any income. Savings rate has a huge impact on that, on how well you can save, obviously. But it matters even more than your income does. If you have a really healthy savings rate, you'll be doing much better than somebody who earns more than you but has a really terrible savings rate. So that no matter what your income is, your savings rate matters more. So focus on that this year and see how we can get that number higher this year than you had it last year. And go watch our episode on how to make $1 million at any income, or whatever the episode was called.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever.
Also, don't be afraid of starting too small.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did at one point in life, I can't remember how long I did it, but I liked it when I did it. I didn't do it long enough. I got into a bad habit at one point of, this was a job probably 10 years ago, where I was like, oh, McChickens and McDoubles were still like $1.
Yeah.
So I would go and get one of each for lunch, spend $2 plus tax or whatever, and that would be my lunch. And then at one point I was like, well, this does add up. Maybe I should make peanut butter and jelly and bring it to work, and then every day instead take that $2 and save it. So that seemed like a very small step, but it works.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was your dad that gave me this idea years ago that I'd never really considered before. If you have a tendency to do some spontaneous spending, like you and your spouse decide to go out to dinner that you weren't planning on ahead of time, you guys spend more money than you had initially budgeted for or whatever. One way to help you with those decisions is you have to promise yourself that you'll also save half of that amount, whatever, let's say you go out to dinner and it costs $100, that you promise that you're also going to save $50 into your investment account or into your savings account or wherever you're trying to save right now. That kind of helps you make the decision. If I can afford $150 so I can save that extra $50, then I'm okay to make this decision to go out to dinner. But if it's like, I can't quite go that far, then maybe you shouldn't be going out to dinner that night. You maybe don't have the margin for that. So little things like that, you can almost gamify it, gamify your life to make it a little bit more fun and challenge and try to think through healthy financial habits that way.
I also had a first the other day. Is accountability partner, is that like a Christian thing?
I mean, no, I think everybody talks about accountability, but I think accountability partner is a kind of a distinctly Christian thing. Okay.
So I had a client the other day ask me, like they really want to save, they really want to save more. He was like, yeah, we budget, but then we break it and we spend too much. So he's like, can you just kind of hold me accountable and send me a text once a month? And I feel like knowing that I'm going to get that text from you will help me save more and not spend as much. So I spent 5 seconds the other day shooting him out a text, and he replied. So all
right, yes, set up a little accountability there. That's fun.
Yeah.
And I think the earlier you can start, the more peace you can give yourself, because the longer you delay this, if you're just like, I just need more income, I can't do anything yet, the more that you're going to be stressed about it later. You're not doing your future self any favors that way. So start small. It doesn't matter how small it is. Get yourself in the habit of it and grow that over time.
Yeah. The worst for us, the challenge can be interesting, but I always feel bad for the people that walk into our office at like 60 years old and they're like, oh, we haven't really started saving, but we want to retire in 5 years. Help us save. Don't wait that long.
Yeah, it's tough.
Don't do it. Start in 2026. Don't wait until you're 60.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, just starting, no matter how old you are, where you are in life, just starting now is better than continuing to wait, obviously. But if you're in that season where you're at 60 years old, you can still talk to us, and we will help figure something out for you.
And that's what I meant. Like, it's not great to see, but for us, we feel up to the challenge.
Yeah, 100%. Just being consistent is better than counting on big future grandiose things happening. So just be consistent with your smaller income right now, and it'll pay off. So this year, automate something. Automate some kind of savings, whether to an investment in particular. Yeah. Whether, like, if you have a 401k, you should, and you're not already utilizing it, you should be. If you already are doing that and you want to do more, figure out how to get money into a Roth IRA, and just, even if it's $25, automate it so it comes out every single month, and don't take money out from that account.
Talk to us though before you do the Roth IRA.
Well, the assumption here is that they are not making much money, and True. So, but you're right.
I mean, you can be making $500,000 and spending $460,000. Then taxes are putting you underwater. But you get the point.
I see what you're saying. There are income limits to Roth IRAs, so be mindful of that. All right, myth number 2.
Just trying to show our value.
True. Myth number 2: debt is a normal part of life. Everyone has car payments. Everyone has a mortgage. Everyone has a HELOC. Everyone has, you name it.
Go to the most expensive college and figure it out later.
Yeah, exactly. So doesn't matter. We'll take more on if we have to. There might be some truth to the fact that everyone has it. That doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I do think there are some, like, the amount of house compared to income has risen a lot. Mm-hmm. I can't remember. Jake at our office posted something on LinkedIn about the amount that it's gone up as compared to income. So we're not a pay for your house in cash type people.
Sure.
But well, credit card, check. Like, I can do whatever I want. I've got this credit card. We're against that kind of debt.
Well, if you just watch TV for like 5 minutes today, you'll see probably like 3 credit card commercials. You'll probably see like that drive time commercial where it's talking about how you can use your app to change your monthly car payment by depending on how much down payment you use and how long the term is. Like our culture is obsessed with getting you more stuff, but putting it all into debt and not paying for it outright. So like,
and do they want to do it just to help you?
Exactly. Yeah. No, they make so much money off of this.
It's not out of the goodness of their heart.
Right. Yeah. Once I feel like it's probably worth the exercise of even calculating how much interest you end up paying whenever you take on any kind of debt. See if you can do the math and figure out how much of your payment is going to interest over the life of that loan. If it's a car payment, or certainly if it's credit card debt, see how much you're paying in interest and how much that interest is accumulating, and realize, oh, if I've got thousands of dollars of credit card debt that I'm not paying off monthly and it's just accumulating 25% interest, that's like hundreds and hundreds of dollars per month that are just going away that I'm just throwing towards interest.
Yeah, fun exercise for if you want to kill your good mood.
Exactly, but like to show how seriously you should be taking it.
Yeah, 100%.
And just think about how much that would free up in your life. You can go, well, that's going out to a really nice dinner with my wife once a month or something like you could figure out like little ways that like I could really use that money and not just throw it away at interest. So debt is often marketed as a tool, but it's a trap.
And yeah, to your earlier point, I feel like the world has made it seem impossible to live without it when it's definitely possible.
Yeah. And obviously we're reasonable. We talked about how to finance a car in a few episodes ago. We understand you're probably gonna have a mortgage, but beyond that, like you can still use wisdom. You can and have to use wisdom in those choices, but you should also be extremely wary of adding any additional high interest debt into your life. Like I don't see any way to use a credit card with wisdom that would require you to not pay off that balance on a monthly basis. Like we talked about using credit cards before, as long as you're paying off the balance, that's fine. Yeah. But if you're carrying that debt over month to month to month, I can't think of any reason why that's a good idea.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is if there's like some really weird one-time expense and you have the discipline, which people rarely do, but all right, it's going to take me 4 months to pay off this. Like I've got this crazy one-time expense. It'll take me 4 months to pay it off.
Sure.
I'm going to throw it on my credit card because I just don't have the money.
Sure.
I'd say maybe that's worth it, but.
Yeah, but even that, like that is different than just like people that continually carry a credit card balance indefinitely.
Yeah, yep.
Just, you can't do that.
Mm-hmm. But it's like, oh, everyone's doing it.
Right.
It made me think of this really stupid example, but all I could think of was, 7th and 8th grade. You have more freedom. Your parents aren't around. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh, my friends are cursing. Everyone's doing it. I can just start cursing.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's doing it, but that doesn't make it right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point.
Stupid example, but it's all I thought of.
No, that makes sense. Yeah, so just because everybody's doing it, it's classic peer pressure. We don't want that.
Yeah.
If your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it too? That classic parent line.
I use the stupid word too, so my kids can't listen to this podcast.
Nor can mine. I know. That was the first thought that came to my head. So yeah, there is some debt that could be strategic, but most consumer debt is just trapping you into lots of payments, lots of interest, and throwing a lot of money away.
And if things turn economically, again, I think we're going through this really long, a decent period of good economic times. But if you end up in a lot of debt and economic times turn, it's a lot harder to turn the ship in your life of making sure that you don't sink your financial life.
Yeah. And don't only calculate how much interest you're paying on a monthly basis, just add up what your payments are in total and think about what would I do if I suddenly had that much cash flow freed up.
Yeah.
Save for maybe your mortgage that you should probably just pay off over the length of that term. But like if you have 2 car payments and you've got some credit card debt and you've got some student loans, add up how much those minimum payments are and think about what would my life be like if I didn't have to pay those anymore. You would have so much more margin than you probably do if you've got a lot of those. So
yeah. And the debt,
let that motivate you is my.
Yeah. The debt keeps compounding against you too.
Right.
So you can end up paying interest on interest, potentially without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And we're going to name this episode Logan's Stupid Examples because I came up with another one for this.
Okay.
My kids love the beach. They love creating these sand castles real close to where the waves break and everything, and then try to beat the tide. The tide just keeps coming in.
Sure.
And it gets harder and harder because it just keeps coming. And the debt can do the same thing to you. You need a bigger shovel, and so you would need a bigger income and work harder to get out of the debt.
Right. That's a good point.
So, another stupid example, but we're going with it.
That's not that stupid. I just used the word too. If you think about compounding, like we've talked about compound interest on the positive side, that you use it to your advantage when you invest. Well, if you have a lot of consumer debt, the exact same thing is happening against you. Somebody's using compounding interest on you for their own benefit. So don't let them do that. Get out of that.
Yep. Yeah, interest on interest is not a good thing.
Yeah. So see what debt you can get rid of this year. We've talked about debt snowballs and debt avalanches and things like that. We don't need to belabor the point, but see if you can at least knock off one of your debts this year. Maybe more than that, depending on how big they are. But get aggressive. Throw an extra $50 a month at one of them and see how quickly that can get paid off.
Yeah, we did in one of the episodes. You just mentioned it, snowball versus avalanche, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go back and check out that episode figure out what works best for you.
Yep. All right. What's myth number 3?
401ks are a scam. As the non-TikTok watcher, this guy in the room, is this actually like a
100%?
Really?
Yes. They claim, I've seen people complain about, and I think it's not a legitimate gripe because they just don't understand, I think, how they think. But like they'll go, because of the tax deferred nature of it, they'll run a calculation and be like, if you grow a 401k to be $1 million, well, you have to pay income tax on that. So it's really $200,000 of that is just gone right away. So it's really only worth $800,000. And then there's fees on top of it and all these things that are extraordinary and confusing. And you don't even know, you have limited investment options. You'd be much better off saving your money and putting it somewhere else. And so it's an interesting thought, but it's wrong.
Yeah. That's where, just my first thought while you were talking about that is that's kind of why we help people try to figure out Roth conversions. You're also avoiding the taxes now.
Exactly.
When you're putting it in the 401ks. So yeah, I think there's way more good in 401ks than.
Yeah. And even when we run projections and we look at the expense chart and you see these red tax bars and they're, they are what they are in the early years while you're working. And then if you've been contributing to a 401k, and you see by the end, I did one the other day and the tax bars got extremely large. And I go, you might look at that and go, yikes, that's a lot of money to be paying in taxes by the time I reach the end of my life. And I go, yeah, but you have to consider the fact that there is a gigantic 401k that you're going to be paying those taxes out of. And so it's not just like you're on the hook suddenly for $1 million tax bill when you reach age 90, when you've got, you'll have that tells me just by looking at this chart alone that you've got a substantial 401k that you've built up. You've done a really good job growing your wealth that you'll be able to pay that bill with no problem.
Yeah.
And so, but that's legit. Like there are taxes that come due. The government, you can't just, what's the phrase? Like have your cake and eat it too, where you get the tax relief now and also later. You've got to choose one essentially, whether you go Roth or traditional.
Yeah. Yep.
And so we love doing Roth conversion strategies and figuring out how to mitigate some of those tax burdens later.
Yeah. Yep. We like doing that. I would say there are some like small truths that don't make the whole 401k is a scam thing actually true. Like there can be confusing fees, but that doesn't mean that the 401k is a scam.
Right. And there might be even like bad plans. Like your company doesn't do any kind of match or any kind of employer contribution.
Yeah.
That is a legitimate reason to be like, is this an important part of my strategy? And the answer for a lot of, especially if you're not making a ton of money, the answer for a lot of people might be no, this is not worth it because I can get lesser fees by contributing outside of this and doing Roth IRA, taxable account, and using all of my cash flow there. However,
and even if you are making a decent amount, you can, you can potentially kind of mix them. Potentially. It depends on the situation, but like IRA or Roth IRA and 401k.
Right, exactly. And so, yeah, if you find yourself having significant cash flow, even if you're not getting an employer match, that's so much more money that if you have the cash flow to do it, that you can get into retirement accounts, tax advantage, like getting that tax relief by contributing traditional, that you wouldn't be able to do it just in a Roth IRA.
Right.
You can only contribute $7,500 in 2026 into a Roth IRA. You cannot contribute any more than that unless you're over 50. Let's just say you're under 50. You can't contribute any more than that. Whereas in a 401k, your limits are much higher. So it's more money that you can get into retirement accounts.
Yeah, and again, when we're talking about limits and all that, there are also income limits. So everybody's situation is specific to them. We're not giving any personal financial advice.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's legitimate, like 401ks are not the perfect thing, but
I think employers legitimately set them up because they want to help you.
Yeah, 100%. And for most people, your 401k is your best wealth building tool.
Yeah.
I don't have the numbers to back that up, but like for most people, that's how you're going to reach the majority of your wealth if you're actively contributing regularly. Because you're not going to be tempted to pull it out because you can't without hefty penalties.
Right.
And it just automatically comes out of your paycheck. So there's just this automation. Once you set it up, set it and forget it. And you might not even remember that it's there sometimes. Like you're probably not checking it every day. It's not like a checking account that you're using all the time. It's just let it go. And for most people, that's just going to be the primary way that you build a significant amount of your wealth.
Yeah. I would say sub-myth in this category. And again, you might be able to figure out a reason or a way or a situation in which this is actually not 100% a myth, but 401k loan, no good.
No good?
No good.
Yeah, I agree. It's not great.
I can't stand the double taxation.
The double taxation?
Yeah, so everything you pay back to the 401k loan is taxed, but it counts toward paying back your 401k. So then you end up pulling it out later and it's taxed again. You're putting post-tax money to paying back the 401k loan, and then when you withdraw from the 401k in retirement, it's taxed again.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. It's not great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people have to do it.
Yeah.
They probably shouldn't. There's probably other ways to do it. But, yeah. We can do a whole...
I just feel like there's been a lot more talk around that lately.
Yeah. Yeah, we should do a whole episode on that because I'm curious about that. All right, anyway, 401ks, they're a good tool. They're not perfect, but if you're, especially, this is one of our first steps in our path to prosper. If you have any kind of employer match where you have to contribute to get money from your employer to contribute as well, you have to take it because you're leaving 100% return on the table. That's the only, like one of the few, or 50% return, whatever they're offering as the match.
Yeah.
You have to take that advantage of that.
Some return. I mean, some of them can get nuts. Like, I think you and I were looking at one where it was like they had to put 20% in or something of their to get like 4%.
Sure. Yeah. But look at what it is. Be reasonable. I think for most people, it's like if you contribute 3%, we'll match 3%.
Yeah.
Contribute 5%, we'll match 5%. Whatever that, if it's reasonable like that, just don't leave that money on the table because you're missing out on a huge part of your wealth building.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Myth number 4.
If the market crashes, I'm just going to get out.
Why do people think this would work?
Beats me.
Yeah.
If it did, I'd be on an island right now.
Yeah. Yeah, overconfidence. I think being able to see people know that they can't see the future, but I think they could predict it more easily.
I will never understand why people think that this is the one area in life where the future is just easy to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing how many clients, we're not even clients necessarily, but when the market goes down, maybe they're former clients that I'm thinking of off the top of my head that were like, you got us out, right? That they like assume that like because we're professional investment managers that we knew that was coming. And of course we put you all into cash right before the market went down. But that's not a reasonable thing to think.
Right. Well, I can get so much into, I don't want to bore people with market dynamics and everything, but like in April with, what was it called? Liberation Day, where the markets just took a dive bomb. People are like, oh, well, Trump talked about tariffs. You should have known that the tariffs were going to happen and the market was going to take a dive. That's not how markets work. That's not how life works. You can't see the future. Trump did talk about tariffs. The market was going down a little bit because everybody thought that tariffs meant one thing, when then on Liberation Day, tariffs meant something much more than anybody expected. That's why it took a dive bomb.
Yeah.
Nobody saw that. Nobody was like, oh, it's going to be this much. Like everybody else that says it's going to be this much is wrong. No, markets price that kind of stuff in. We don't have a crystal ball.
Right. And it's funny, like the people that do predict big crashes, like there was one person that shortly before 08 happened that basically called it pretty accurately. And
you talking about Michael Burry?
No, there was another person. I think she was a woman that predicted. I can't remember the exact story, but then it was like every subsequent prediction that she made was like not even close to being true. So like you might get lucky but legitimately like see reasons for concern like Burry probably did.
Yeah.
In 08, like that one, it is funny in hindsight. Like some of the things that led to the 08 crisis felt like they maybe should have been a little bit more predictable with the mortgage stuff. But nonetheless, like if you look at the track record of people that have predicted rightly any kind of crashes, look at the other times that they've predicted it. Like there's that old joke that he's predicted 20 of the last 2 market crashes. You know, like things like that tend to happen with these people. So it's really difficult.
And you have to get multiple steps right, which we probably talked about most of this on the market. Don't time the markets, but you have to get the top right and the bottom right.
Right. Yeah. So check out that episode. We did a whole episode on why market timing fails and why we just flat out refuse to even try. Yep. So you should listen to that episode and give you peace of mind the next time the markets go down.
Yep.
Because missing these, there's good days intertwined in all these downturns. When you miss those, it just destroys your returns. It absolutely destroys them.
Yeah, and there are things that you can do to decrease volatility in accounts and potentially take a little bit off the table if things start getting iffy. But anybody that says, oh, if the market's going to go down, I can get you out, don't listen.
Yeah. Long-term investing requires short-term discomfort.
Yeah.
It's like going to the gym. Like you go in and it's like, man, this isn't like super fun. Running or lifting weights, like it kind of hurts sometimes. You end up sore. But when you do that through the years, you're just like, you're smooth sailing years, and you'll be so thankful that you did it years later. And those little short-term pains were totally worth it. So investing is the same way. Just go with the flow, ride the wave.
Close your eyes in April.
Yeah. All right. Last myth.
Cash is safer than investing.
Yeah, because it doesn't fluctuate. It doesn't go up and down. It just stays right there, right?
I look at my bank account and it's the same.
Yeah. Why is that a myth?
A couple reasons. The main reason is people aren't considering inflation.
Yeah.
Which over the last few years was high.
So you are, in fact, losing money. Not just not gaining money, but you're actually losing money by keeping a lot in cash.
Yeah, so your $5,000 or whatever in 2 years is not going to be, you're not going to be able to buy the same for $5,000 this year as you can in 2 or 3 or 5 years. So the inflation is just slowly eating away at that cash.
Right. So
at the buying power of that cash.
Yeah. So it kind of works doubly against you.
Yeah.
Because if you're invested, you can expect returns, which will help hedge against inflation and also get above it. More often than not. But with cash, you're losing to inflation and you're not growing at all.
Right.
So that it kind of works against you in two ways.
And the other one that people don't think about is that, and we touched on this a little bit in our Bitcoin episode, but is that currencies also move around comparatively against each other. So like this year, one of the reasons that international has outperformed the U.S. stocks is because the dollar is worth less compared to other currencies this year for a variety of reasons. So people that look at the dollar indices see that the dollar was declining compared to other currency. And so in that case, the dollar in your bank account is also declining compared to other currencies.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're not anti-cash.
No, not at all.
There's reason for different cash accounts that we've talked about.
Holding some cash.
Yeah. Emergencies.
Yeah.
You still like to keep your emergency fund in investments, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's weird. But
some of it. I have an emergency fund that is not in investments. It's just not quite as high as some people like to keep their emergency fund.
All right. I thought this is, a helpful thing to think about. Volatility, when you think about if that makes you nervous, volatility is like it's a visible risk that you can see and that makes you nervous, whereas inflation is an invisible risk. You don't feel it. You think that your cash is safe because it's not going up and down like your investments might be, but the inflation is just eating into that slowly.
Or
behind the scenes.
Or like you feel it in a different way. Like use $5,000 in your bank account today, and in a year you might feel the same, but like at one point everybody was complaining about how much eggs cost. Like, all right, the $5,000 in your bank account can now pay for less eggs than it did last year. So like people feel the pain when they go to the grocery store, but then they go home and they look at their bank account and they're like, oh, it's the same. My bank account's the same. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but you also just had to spend a ton on groceries.
Yeah.
If that made sense.
It did. All right. Some closing thoughts. Any other thoughts on cash?
I don't think so.
All right. Closing thoughts as a quick episode to kind of wrap up the year and head into a new year.
Let everybody go to bed at 10:30 like Dalton.
Oh, yeah, dude. 100%. It's the best. The best thing you can do for your health.
I rarely, you're talking New Year's.
Yeah.
I rarely go to bed by 10:30 on a regular day.
That's silly.
New Year's, it's like...
I stayed up till 11 o'clock last night, and it was the latest I've been awake in a long, long time.
Oh, man.
It was terrible.
That's when all the fun happens.
No. That's when all the bad things happen. The monsters come out. All right, recap of all the myths. Number one, let's see if we can remember off the top of our heads. We didn't list it here at the end of our outline. The first one was, I'll start investing when I make more money.
Yeah. Was it investing or saving?
I kind of both.
Yeah.
I'll start when I make more.
Yeah. Yep.
The second one was, it was also about, it was not the 401k myth.
Debt?
Yeah, debt is normal.
Yep.
The third one is 401ks are a scam.
Yep. The fourth is getting out of the markets.
Yep. And then the fifth is cash. Yeah. Good. We know what we're doing.
Yeah.
So, 100%. If any of those resonated with you, that you've heard that before, you saw a reel or a TikTok thing, and you're like, yeah, I've heard that, and you've resonated with it at all, or it's prevented you from doing something that you maybe should have, take action on that this year. Start in January and be like, let me correct this, and let me maybe not stop. Let me start contributing to my 401k.
Yeah.
Let me pay a little bit extra in towards my debt so I can get rid of that this year.
Try to make it habits.
Yeah. So just do one small action in January and repeat that every month for the year.
I sat through a seminar recently, by the way, but at one point they talked about habits. Mm-hmm. And I feel like everything you ever hear is like, oh, it takes 21 days, or This guy was like, that's all a bunch of baloney. It takes, I think he said like, it was in like the 70s, 70 some days. So just try to keep going with that habit so that you really burn it into your habit.
I would even just say it eventually gets easier when you start doing habits, but I also just think it's something that you just have to do for the rest of your life. There's nothing that's like you can still, whether you've done something every day for 30 years, you could still be tempted to not do it on it. Like if you, let's say it's reading your Bible every day, like there are still days when you might still miss it. Just because it's a habit doesn't mean that you're never going to mess up ever again. So
right.
It's something that you have to deal with every day for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
It gets easier, but it's something you got to do.
Yeah.
Money's no different. Be consistent and just do it over time and it'll pay off.
Yeah. Definitely.
Right. Any other thoughts?
No. If you want to stay up until midnight on New Year's Eve, know that you have a friend in me. And if you're in bed, you have a friend in me. That's maybe sounded kind of weird. But nevertheless, Happy New Year. Thanks for listening. We will see you again next time. On that note. Yeah. See you in the new year, and God bless. Yeah, God bless the new year, 2026. Yes, let's go.
Investment advisory services offered through Stonecrop Wealth Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. This material is intended for informational purposes only.